Comic Timing
is a proud member
of the
Stop screwing it up.
of the Comics Podcast Network.
Bitch.
Bitch?
Hey there, folks. My name's Ian Levenstein, and welcome to episode 195 of Comic Timing. It's been a while. It has been a while.
While?
A while. What, like at least like 2.5 months, Raph?
Is the last one we did the last one I did?
The last one we did is the last one you did.
That was Stand Dying. That was like November.
It's been a while. It has definitely been a while. For those of you who did not listen to the special episode that Brent put out back in February, it was a Reign of the Superman review where he did both parts of the Reign of the Superman, I think the Death of Superman and Reign of Superman movies.
The doubleheader, yeah.
Exactly, the doubleheader. Give that a listen. That was a good stopgap, and I appreciate him putting that out. But hey, we're all live today. Chris is here. Hey, Chris.
Live, very loosely speaking.
I mean, we are alive.
We are in the same room.
Yes.
Whether or not I am living is up for debate.
All right.
After working last weekend, I'm still tired. I'm so tired.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
We may all be zombies. We're all in the same room. That doesn't happen very often. No, it doesn't.
Except when we play D&D.
Yes.
Or when it's your birthday.
Yes.
You've entered a forest.
Or when it's Raph's birthday.
God, fine. We hang out a lot, all right? Whatever, man. Let it go.
You've entered a forest. All around you. No, it's
Oh, my God. Lonely Island is going on tour.
Yeah, I heard. I saw. I would like to go. Yeah.
They're going to be at the Kings, so...
Oh, shit.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, that's enough off topic. Chris is the one who suggested we do this episode in the first place.
I suggest a lot of episodes, and then you never do them, and I'm deeply disappointed in you.
Which is why I'm trying to avoid the disappointment this time around by actually doing what you suggested. And having the people on that should be on this, considering that Mr. Rapsu, who is, works at a comic shop or worked or sort of works
Mr.
still.
Midtown! Yo, Midtown!
Yeah, God, I get that so much. I still get that,
Isn't your middle name Midtown? Like Raph Midtown?
I am considering legally changing it, but then unless I work at Midtown for life, there's a potential of a lawsuit.
Oh, okay.
Because because they have their name trademarked. And,
hey, man, it's your boy. Midtown, here on which...
I mean, I could, Actually, I was talking to them about doing a Twitch stream, but that's for this.
But yeah, besides the point.
A Twitch stream where you read comics and don't stab them with knives.
Yeah, actually, that sounds like a wonderful idea. But anyway, yeah, we're actually doing this episode in the wake of the news that St. Mark's Comics will be closing at the end of this month.
So like the end of this week.
Yeah, the end of this week. This episode will be out before they're gone, but it depends on you guys whether or not you want to actually go there to pay your respects or whether you already have or haven't. We have thoughts and opinions on the state of the comic shop and St. Mark's in general. They're going to be a little controversial because I know there's people out there who actually like St. Mark's Comics.
Oh, yeah. If you're a total St. Mark's stan, you might want to skip this episode.
Right.
I mean, we'll probably have some good things to say.
Sure.
But,
Sorry, friends.
Yeah. Well, for one thing, not everybody who worked there were dicks. And I know that that's not exactly a compliment to say out loud to say that, but I know for a fact that there are some very good people who work there who are very helpful and help you get what you need.
I think you can say that of a lot of stores.
Exactly.
So, there's always going to be the employee that cares way more than the job asks of it.
Yes, Raph, you have an interjection? You have something to say?
No, I just wanted to plug myself.
Oh, okay, Mr. Midtown, whatever you say.
I mean... See, I feel like this is where you have to put in the clip that I've been asking you to put in.
I'm not using that clip.
Dental plan.
Okay. I wanted to say, St. Mark's, a lot of people have been like, oh my God, I'm so sad. It's the end of an era. It's the end of the old St. Mark's. Yeah. This sucks. Oh, it's really tough out there for a comic shop. Blah, 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 blah. We'll go into all of that.
Yeah.
The thing is, my first thought when I heard the news and I saw it on Comics Beat or whatever was, Ian said he won't put this clip in, but yes, they deserve to die and I hope they burn in hell.
She's been talking about this freaking Sam Jackson clip, basically ever since it happened. I'm like, God damn it. But, all right, you just got the reenactment of it.
It's just
Sorry,
that,
Sam.
as someone, the other two guys on this episode, I grew up in New York.
Yeah.
Grew up in Brooklyn. I've been to all the big comic shops.
Sure.
I grew up going to Jim Hanley's in Midtown Comics, which is now 22 years old. Started in 97.
97. So it'd be 22 in January.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jim Hanley's.
July. July.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jim Hanley's has been around since the 80s, like 88, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jamal
now it's
used to
JHU.
work there.
Yeah, he did actually.
So did Vito.
Vito used to work there. A whole bunch of people who are now in the comic book industry.
I applied to work there. They didn't hire me. You know who else I applied to and didn't hire me?
Who?
St. Mark's.
Oh wow!
I'll tell that story later.
Well, the other thing too, wasn't there a member of King of the Nerds who worked at a Jim Hanley's location, the Staten Island,
I think
one?
so.
I used to shop there. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think he opened up his own store.
You might be right about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I went to that store, Comic Book Jones.
Okay.
It's good. I don't know if they're still open, but they were a good store.
I
Good
did
people.
vague recollection of that existing, but I've never been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we all have our memories of different stores.
Yeah.
Bulletproof.
Yeah.
I used to go to a place in Bay Ridge, Bill and Bob's, the kind of place where the guy would just kind of wander off in the middle of the day and leave a sign that says "Be back in 15 minutes," and then he comes back like 2 hours later, and there's just like 30 kids standing out there. Also, a classmate's mom who's pushing a shopping cart with a husky puppy in it.
Okay.
I know this is a very specific thought, but I'm just painting a picture here. This is how that very stereotypical comic shop.
Yeah.
Like where it's kind of like everything's wood. It smells like old wood.
Yep.
Yeah. The hours might be negotiable depending
Old design
on
of Bulletproof, honestly, with all the cubbies and stuff like that. Before they redesigned about like maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, that's what Bulletproof looked like.
The Ziggo
yeah.
era.
I mean, I've been there with you a few times.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was one of those classic stores, and St. Mark's was basically that sort of classic model, but it was a chain. I know there's obviously the main branch on St. Mark's, and there's also one on Chamber Street for a while, which is how I kind of first became acquainted with them. And
is that where the current shop is? Like not too far from like Wall Street, like the one that's sort of like off on a side street.
No, it's that's Chameleon Comics.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
You're the one on St. Mark's is right by BMCC because I used to go there right before they closed.
Chamber Street had like most of the shops on Chamber Street kind of cater to BMCC because there were people walking by them.
Yeah, it was right next to the college bookstore that used to be there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were right next to each other.
There was Manhattan Books.
Yeah.
There. Manhattan Books. I used to work at Sci-Fi Mysteries and More. Was on the same block.
Yeah.
So it was a bunch of bookstores. This was like peak, paper era. The kind of thing you don't see in the year 2019.
Bullpen Comics was literally three blocks down from where we currently are right now. That's where I shopped all the damn time back when I was a kid.
But and then there was. But speaking of St. Mark's, then there was Metro in Brooklyn, and that was on Montague Street.
Oh yeah,
not too far from where my grandfather
I remember
lived.
that. Yeah,
I used to be there all the time.
I didn't go. I've been there maybe twice, but I remember it.
I was there about maybe 10 or 11 times. All things considered. Yeah.
But with St. Mark's closing, the people again they're lamenting the end of an era. Oh, first of all, I want to just get this out there that people are like, oh no, this means you can't survive in Manhattan as a comic shop, and like. That Forbidden Planet is like 3 blocks away, and it's on Broadway.
Exactly.
Like, the rent must be astronomical.
They're on the ground floor on Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have the basement, access to the basement.
This is their third location, Forbidden Planet, right? Because they started off, they've all been basically on the same block.
They had the corner store for a while, the one that's a Zoomies now. Yeah. I don't know if
they were on 12th Street before that in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. or 90s, however long
that would be
been.
it. And then they moved to the Zoomies location on.
Yeah, because I remember going to the 12th Street store in 94.
That was the newspaper
95?
ad with the Dave Gibbons Watchmen art with the coming soon. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because somebody posted that recently on Facebook, and I think that was the exact location you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That was it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is sad that like St. Mark's in general is becoming St. Mark's, the street, not the store, is becoming very different.
Well, so is all of New York.
Yeah, like that's just what happens. Like people, I think, are just kind of not good at recognizing that they're getting older and things go away.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I remember really well, like when I was growing up on Kings Highway. There was an awesome like CD/record shop like right down the block from where my mom lived, where the Target is now, like around the corner, on that strip of Kings Highway between 12th and 13th was this really cool place, and it was there for years and years and years. I think it was called like Music Industry or something like that, or Music and More. They closed maybe 10 years ago because the market just wasn't there anymore for it. As people went, more digital and more.
Yeah, it's interesting.
MP3s.
Music stores kind of shut down because people are moving more to digital methods.
Right.
But people were thinking bookstores were going to collapse, and they're not. Independent bookstores, there's actually more opening now.
Yes.
Yep.
And I mean, Barnes and Noble's doing okay. It's not great, but.
I mean, they're hanging in there.
They're the last one standing.
Well, they became, especially in the wake of Toys R Us closing, they now sell a lot more games and toys.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
But with St. Mark's, to me, it was like that old school comic shop where you had the irascible owner, and you had the kind of like the employees were always like teenagers, and the place was just piled high with stuff.
Yeah.
And I never really liked it to begin with. Like the one on Chamber Street was my first experience with St. Mark's, and I don't like the way they store the new comics. They're always in those little wood cubbies, and
they'd bend over, and the spines would get damaged.
Yeah, again, Bulletproof even Bullpen used to do that. Like
they would not be in mint condition,
but
I would not be able to get a pristine copy.
You consider that though, like the '80s style of just putting comics out there, and that's what it is to me. Like the '80s and '90s of comic book shops were just basically just grab and go.
Yeah, people would just like after Batman in 1989, it was just comic shops exploded. I'm sure there were other reasons for it. Someone can argue with me all you want, but that's what I think of as the threshold, like the watershed moment.
The
was.
catalyst.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, you can argue, 86 was a big year with Watchmen and Dark Knight, but that's not mainstream. The biggest mainstream moment is Batman.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Batmania.
Yeah. Because that put comic. I mean, we wouldn't have comic book movies the way we do today without '89 Batman. I mean, Superman started it back in.
But it was the first one and only one for like decades.
Exactly, and then Batman brought it back into the public eye, and then from there
and then
we
they
moved
ran
on.
that franchise into the ground.
Yes, they did.
Never leave the cave without it.
But it's okay. We're getting a Batflick-less Batman coming soon, and
with Joey Lawrence or Armie Hammer.
Whoa.
Or
Joey Lawrence.
I just saw on Facebook he has a petition to be Batman.
Fuck no.
I mean, I'd buy that for $1.
I mean, we all know it should be Davis Mazouz. That's all.
Give it. Well, yeah, he's 18-ish now. He'd be like in his early 20s. Perfect.
Yeah,
if it's supposed to come out in 2021, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, all you Gotham haters. We love Gotham. It's crazy in all the right ways. I love it. I love it so.
Yeah, I could do a whole episode about Gotham. I mean, the short of it is that I think it captures. If we ever want to do an episode about this, I'll restate this. That it captures both the kind of like the madness.
Yeah.
Of Gotham and of like the Batman franchise, as well as like the darkness. Like it captures both sides of it.
Yeah.
Like the 90s cartoon got the craziness, but it couldn't be dark.
Yeah. No, the only thing is it's a young Bruce Wayne. That's the only difference. It's you don't have an adult Batman.
Right.
You could put an adult Batman in there and no one would complain.
No.
I think that's the biggest thing that's different.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So bringing it back on topic,
To comic shops.
To comic shops. I think my major issue with St. Mark's, and this was a little bit the case with what was it called, Metro?
Metro, the one on Montague, yes.
Approachability is something that I felt was severely lacking with both of those locations. Like I felt like it was way harder to just go up to a guy and be like, "Hey, what do you recommend?" Because there's something that was almost. They felt like they were higher up, you know?
St. Mark's was known, one of the things people always praised about it, that was even in the Comics Beat piece about how they hired women before that was actually like a common practice in comic shops, except that it really didn't count for much. Like one, we have our friend Jill was saying she worked there and it was a terrible experience, like when she was a teenager.
Yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, 6 people I know that used to work for them. They're all women.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, they're all women. They have had varying degrees of experience. I think the people that have left more recently have actually really enjoyed their time there. So maybe something changed. So going back to my story, back in 2003 when I was 19 years old and I wanted to get a job for the summer and they were hiring.
Yeah.
I didn't have much work experience, but I knew my comics.
And he still doesn't today. Okay.
Yeah,
continue.
I don't. And I don't know anything about comics.
No,
what the
of
fuck
course
are you guys
not.
talking about?
No.
But I went in there with a resume and then I told them everything. I answered all their questions and then like 2 weeks later there was a new girl working behind the counter. I didn't do the shitty thing of like, oh, so what comics do you read? I just kind of bought my stuff and left.
No, because you're not a dick.
Right. But I was annoyed though that I was like, why would, okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
And then now, look where I am now. I've worked for the largest comic book store in the world, and I work for a distributor, and I don't know, and they're closing. So nanny boo boo, I win.
But I mean, that was part of the mystique of St. Mark's was, I remember the Village Voice, how they always do the best of New York every year? And one of the, they always have best comic shop. And I remember one year, and it was St. Mark's, and they're like, oh yeah, we love like the bored goth girls behind the counter. And I'm like, bored goth girl, that is the best summation of every single girl I've ever seen behind the counter. She always seemed disinterested, just kind of like annoyed that you've even come in the shop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not charming to me. I mean, as a female facing person, that's not appealing to me. Maybe it's appealing to like some dude bros. They think that's kind of funny or whatever. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah, a bunch of hipsters.
Yeah, that's not even why I hate St. Mark's, but it's just.
Well,
it's why people love St. Mark's, though.
Do you think that that's like a relic of an era of like, hey, let's get the cool girls in here so that the guys feel like that they want to spend money to impress the cool girls?
I think they were okay with selling stuff to women. I can at least say that I've never had anything really sexist happen inside a St. Mark's location.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I have stories. You mentioned the Metro one. We'll go back to what you said about accessibility. Do you want me to tell St. Mark's story number one?
Yes.
St. Mark's story
which
number
story
one.
I'm talking about.
Yes, I do, and I want you to tell that and give me 1 sec to talk a little bit about Metro. Just because Metro was actually one of the first comic shops that I really remember going into after I started collecting, because it was very close to where my grandfather lived. It was right down the block from him, basically. And I remember walking in there and feeling like everything was very cluttered. There was no organization really to the back issues, or really wasn't any organization to what was even up on the walls.
Usually, you always had to ask,
Yeah.
oh, I need this back issue, and the guy would have to pull out boxes for you, which is true also of the other locations anyway.
Sure, but I felt that even with new releases, like there really wasn't, I fully admit it did improve, like in the later years of Metro when it actually became a branded St. Mark's when they changed the name officially.
Yeah.
I went back in there and it was a little bit better designed, but that was one of my main reasons I didn't go there more often, is that I literally felt like I had no idea what I was looking for when I walked in the door, and that was my main qualm, my main issue with it more than anything else.
I mean, actually, this is a mini. I'm going to tell the real story, but you just reminded me that the one time I went into the Chamber Street location, and I was like, hey, do you have the new issue of Scud the Disposable Assassin? I think it was issue 15. They're like, well, we have the trade paperback. I'm like I already have those issues. I want the new issue. We have the trade paperback. I don't need the trade paperback. Oh, but we have it. And I'm like, yep, I want the new issue. It was like talking to an NPC in a role playing game.
Yeah, it's like the quest isn't here, but I have this item. I don't want that item.
Lisa needs
my
braces.
quest.
Dental plan.
Yeah, I eventually had to go to JHU and pick it up. That seems to be the answer to all of these, is I had to go to another store and get it.
Was that back when JHU still had the downtown location?
So, you know what? That was what the Scud thing was when... Okay, so Jim Hanley's was on Chambers Street until, I want to say, 96. It was my sophomore year of high school. And they closed... And the thing is, this sucked, because what I used to do is I would leave school, or sometimes I'd go out during lunch.
Yeah.
I went to Stuyvesant just down the block.
Right.
And I would walk to Jim Hanley's Universe and buy stuff. And then I would read it on the train ride home. It's a nice block of 40 minutes to an hour. I just have it to myself. I can read comics. I don't have to do homework. It was nice. That was like when I read comics. Like that was my thing. It was important to me. And then that Jim Hanley's location closed. And if I wanted to go to Jim Hanley's, I'd have to go uptown, which is not convenient,
Right.
especially
it's
when
the
you're like
opposite
16 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I had to come up with like alternative plans. Like there was the shop in my neighborhood, but that meant I couldn't read them on the train ride home. I'd be picking them up after I got off the train, and then I go home, and then I got to do my homework, so I wouldn't read my comics right away.
Right.
The tragedy.
Woe is me.
So I had to try like alternate plans and stuff. And when St. Mark's opened up on Chambers Street, that's when I would like try to go there, and like I kind of soured on them pretty quickly. Before they opened up on Chambers Street, though, they, I found out that Metro Comics existed.
Yeah.
And I would go there with my friends. And I found, I could get off the train at Borough Hall, hop over, buy comics, and then get back on the train. And then I'd still have like 20 minutes or so before I got home to read them.
Right.
Yeah, not bad.
And the stopped going to Metro. This is the story number one was I wanted to pick up this Vertigo comic, Dampire. If anybody's listening to this and wants to say it's a shitty comic, that is completely not the point here. I wanted it. It looked cool.
It's called Danpire, you said?
Dampire. Dampire.
Pyr.
Yeah,
I've
that's
seen it at Midtown.
Yeah, that's an actual thing. It's an actual Dampir. Yes, Dampir. So it was a Vertigo comic. It had the for mature readers thing.
Yep.
And I grab it off the shelf at Metro, and I go over to the counter, and the guy at the counter, typical schlubby comic, white comic shop guy. Raph knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've seen them all.
And he's just like, I can't sell you this. What? I can't sell you this. You're not old enough. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I buy Vertigo comics all the time. He's like, we can't sell you this. You're not old enough. It's for mature readers. And I'm like, I read Sandman and other Vertigo all the time. I buy stuff all the time. It's like, well, you can't buy this because it's got like a blowjob in it. And I'm like, I know what a blowjob is. Like, this is not, I'm 15.
I have seen oral sex. I demand this comic.
Yeah. And he's like, you are terrible.
No, we needed that.
I know what oral sex is by now. But I'm just kind of like,
Give me this book.
I was like, dude, what the hell? He's like, people are getting in trouble. Like, people are getting arrested in, I forget, he said like Oklahoma or Nebraska.
I mean, that is true.
People were. And I was just like, yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
This is not Oklahoma or Nebraska.
Right.
It's New York.
Yeah.
New York
You're
fucking city.
You're fine. You're going to be fine, dude. He's like,
Yeah.
no, I can't sell it to you. I don't want to get in trouble. And I'm just like, you're not going to get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. And I went, God, man, don't be such a pussy. Again, in my defense, I was 15.
Yes, you
That's
were.
more than fair.
Yeah.
And his response was, fuck you. Now, you can say I egged him on.
yeah.
But again, 15, and I'm a child customer that he's refusing to sell a comic to because I'm not old enough. And then his response is, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's kind of when I was like, this is a ridiculous situation. I
Yeah,
don't want to give these people my money.
No, and he clearly doesn't want your money.
Yeah. So the end of that story is I'm like, okay, fuck you too. I leave the store. I get on the train. I go to Bill and Bob's in Bay Ridge. I see it on the shelf. I grab it. I walk up to the counter. The guy sells it to me. And I said, they wouldn't sell this to me at Metro. And he's like, why? He's like, I don't know, because not old enough, and he told me to go fuck myself. And the guy's like, are you kidding me? I
So
loved
dumb.
Bill and Bob's because sometimes I would ask him, okay, what's my total? And he goes, how much do you have in your wallet?
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I have like $3. He's like, that's good enough.
Yeah,
Jeez,
Bullpen would do that to me all the time because Joe was the guy who worked there. Awesome guy, really friendly guy. I was in there enough. I was in there literally every week because every Wednesday I would take the bus from my junior high school, take it to Kings take the B68, over to Avenue X, grab my comics, go back to Kings Highway, go to the KFC Taco Bell, have a chalupa baja and a triple zinger sandwich.
We all had like rituals around
Yeah.
shopping for comics.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
And-
I definitely had one.
And then I would go home, and every time there'd be at least 2 or 3 comics more than what I could pay for, and Joe would be like, "Don't worry, you can get it next time." And he never charged me for it because frankly he was happy that I was buying in the first place.
Buying your loyalty is a big deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after that I stopped doing the thing where I would get off the train and go to Metro because I'm like, this guy's going to be a dick. I don't know if he's even going to sell me the things I want.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And again,
Plus, you had a
teenager.
bad experience.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm a teenager. It's not like you're selling, it was the whole story about like a kid getting ElfQuest and they were 6 years old. And it
Yeah,
was like,
that's not the same thing.
yeah. But I just started going to Bill and Bob's, and that was my first like, nope, I'm kind of done with St. Mark's, and
To contrast that,
I was actually going to ask probably something similar to what you're about to talk about. So go ahead.
Okay.
to contrast that, so I didn't really start collecting till kind of late, like 97.
Yeah.
And I was in middle school. I went to 131 right there, right off Grand Street, and I would walk home through Hester Street, and I'd get to Rutgers, and right off the corner of Rutgers and Hester was a comic book store. and I've talked about him before, but he's a guy who used to be a ghost artist for Marvel and DC in the 70s.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned.
Yeah, his name is Moses. He's friends with Neil Adams. That's how I know Neil Adams.
Nice.
And so when he started, I was kind of like, I was like the sad emo kid in middle school. No one liked me.
Yeah.
So I would go there to hang out, and he would tell me stories about working in the industry, and like he's definitely the reason why I wanted to get into comics.
Okay.
So he would sometimes give me books for free, or sometimes he'd show me something or give me a little discount. But he's also the person who sold me adult comics, like
boy.
Eros comics, like Triple X comics at 14 and 15 years old, and didn't
shit.
give a fuck about my age. To contrast that story, so I got porn comics at 14, and you couldn't get Dampier from Metro Comics, which is ridiculous.
You don't even see the penis in the shot. I opened it and I was like, that's it. It's like you see the girl go down, but you don't see any nudity. It's just, it happens.
Dampier, by the way. 1996 Vertigo comic. Writer Nancy A. Collins.
That was one of the
artist
reasons I wanted.
Paul Lee. Letterers Comic Craft and Richard Starkings.
Yeah.
Editor Axel Alonso.
Oh yeah, Axel.
Yes. So if you want to go and try and track that down,
It's out of print.
it's probably in the back issue bin somewhere.
Yeah, you can find it in like 50-cent bins.
It wouldn't
Pretty
surprise
sure it's
me.
on my shelf.
It has
in one of my
But
Yeah.
what do you call it? Yeah, no, I so it's funny because when I moved back to New York, I found one of those comics.
Yeah.
Total tentacle porn.
oh my god.
I don't even remember it from like back then, but I flipped through it. I was just curious. Like there's tentacle. Oh my god.
So that actually leads me to what I was going to ask you. You didn't go in the direction I thought you were.
Sure, no, I went to
you went in the, you went in the,
Internet is for
you
porn.
went into a much better direction, and yes, it is. Grab your deck and double click.
monster.
Finally gone. By the way,
I'm
after
so
all these
sad.
years, it'll come back eventually.
Yeah. Someone will revive it.
hard to say goodbye.
It's still touring all over the country.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. It'll be fine.
So, have you run into any situations while working at Midtown Comics where young kids have tried to get adult materials?
Get around, kids. It's story time. So, I don't know how many are familiar with Midtown Comics, but
What's a Midtown?
so it's the Times Square location. It's a comic book store in Midtown Manhattan. in
Isn't it
Times
true
Square.
that there's also a downtown Midtown?
Yeah, there's a downtown and Grand Central location now.
Yeah.
Back when I started, back in the halcyon days of 2008, back when you had horse and buggy.
You know, back then, people were still doing these things called podcasts.
Oh my God! Yeah, I used to be a podcaster.
Yeah, they used to go on their iPods.
Yeah, I do actually.
I had an iPod video.
Yeah, there were these weird people who would go onto their computers and. All right, anyway, continue.
Yeah, but anyway, so Times Square didn't used to be the cleanest place, and it still isn't. There's still like a couple of shops there that are like porn shops and stuff.
Sure.
So, but back then, Midtown has always had two floors.
Yeah.
The third floor is where all the toys are.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2008, it's also where the books, the clothing, and the adult section was.
I remember that. Yeah.
And when I first worked up there, I had to block a lot of kids from walking into that. But not a lot. Not like it didn't happen every time I was up there.
Right.
But more often than not, there'd be a happy 3-year-old running through the toys and then go straight to the back. I'm like, oh, no, you can't go in there, kid.
Right.
It even has the little wooden turnstile.
It used to have the two wooden doors. Yeah, the two wooden. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And
I know
the
everything.
the weird shit that they used to stock up there.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
But they don't anymore, right?
No, it's been gone since 2010, which leads me to my second porn story.
Here we go. Boom.
So back like a couple of weeks after we got rid of the porn section,
Yeah.
this not elderly, but like middle-aged man comes in. And he goes upstairs.
Yeah.
And he comes running down the stairs screaming, God damn it, God damn it, God damn it. It's like Tuesday.
Was it Vince McMahon?
No, but it no, Vince is here.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But
You're fired.
You're laughing so hard, I can hear you outside of the headphones.
But anyway, so the point is, he comes downstairs. It's like Tuesday morning, 11 o'clock. No one's in the store really.
Yeah.
And he runs up to me. I'm at the register. He's like, God damn it, where'd it go? Where'd it go? I'm like, where did what go?
No.
The porn upstairs. Oh, I'm supposed to get porn now. I'm like, dude, it's the internet. I don't know how to use a computer. And he's like yelling at me about the porn. And then my boss comes in and he's like, oh, sir, what's going on? And he's like, God damn it, what'd you do with the porn? And he's like, all right, that's it, you need to go. And he just walks him out the door. I'm like, holy shit.
And that man's name was Donald J. Okay, no.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Stop
I'm
it.
not.
No, he wasn't that tall, and his
No.
hands were bigger.
Okay, that's fair.
He had
That's
more
fair.
hair on top of his head.
Yeah.
As a side story, so my father used to buy heavy metal all the time
Oh,
when I was a kid. He had a huge collection of them. And during the summer, like, I didn't go out and play very often because, all the kids hated me and I was bullied and blah, blah, blah.
Sure,
So
yeah, that's
like,
a lot of us.
I'd watch TV, but there wouldn't always be stuff on TV. So I'd start poking around the house to see what I could find. This is how I found, let's see, the fact that my dad had a rifle and bullets in the closet, which I, like the responsible child I was, put back very carefully.
Good.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, you're still alive to tell the tale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we used to, like, oh, my dad has a really big collection of like hard rock and heavy metal records, and we used to play those, and I crank it up because nobody was home, and the parakeet would chirp. Our parakeet really liked heavy metal music.
Oh yeah.
But then, I was like, oh, there's a bunch of magazines over here. Ooh, comics. Ooh, titties, and oh, that's a dick. Okay, and then I read them anyway. That is how I became acquainted with Warren Ellis as more than just the guy who writes Excalibur. Because he wrote this one. He used to write this like ongoing, I don't know if it was a series or just its character called Harlequin Bones, I believe.
Yeah.
And this one particular story is like this lady is like fucking this guy and his dick flies off because it's actually like a sentient prosthetic.
Oh, okay.
And it's like military, like decommissioned military hardware, and now it wants to kill her.
Like penises tend to do, apparently.
Yeah, and like so I was just like, oh, this is that guy who writes Excalibur. Okay. And
Warren
then,
Ellis, man.
and then, like Transmet came out like
Yeah.
not too like a few years later, and I was like, okay. It
Makes
all
sense.
makes sense now.
It all makes sense, yeah.
And if I ever finish my reread of that, we can do a podcast about that too.
So outside of the porn, have you ever had to stop, say, like a young kid from getting like a Max title or something like that? Like something
No.
something that you would consider to be, for mature readers.
No, I've actually, yes. Because there was one time, it's so funny. They were like the most suburban white family ever.
Wait.
That's how white they
White.
were. You had to add the H.
Yes. It was an
White.
8-year-old girl.
Yeah.
It was the father and the mother.
Yeah.
And she wanted to pick up Nemesis, Mark Miller's Nemesis.
Okay.
That's the one where at the end, the Nemesis is a villain clad in white.
Yeah.
And he the most like uncorruptible super cop goes after him. So Nemesis captures his mentally like what was it? Development? No, the daughter and the son. The son has developmental issues.
Yeah.
Forces them to have sex and puts a bomb in the daughter's uterus. And he wanted to pick that up for his daughter because, quote unquote, I let her watch Looney Tunes, and I'm like, this isn't Looney Tunes. This isn't Looney Tunes.
It's ultra-violent, sexual assault, and it's
Yeah.
just a shitty storyline.
It was an awful book, and
Yeah.
I was just like, how can I explain this to you without telling you what happens in front of your 8-year-old daughter? And eventually I was just like, you really don't want, it's terrible anyway.
Right.
And it's just an awful read anyway. And she's like, all right, fine, whatever. We'll find something else. And I was like, here, how about this?
So you gave advice and you said, how about this, rather than just, no, you can't buy that.
Fuck you and your 8-year-old kid. I didn't do that.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. So that is legitimately a difference in style. You actually caring as a comic shop, employee,
Here's the
trying
thing.
to give better advice.
I'm what they call good at my job.
What?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, I know.
But yeah, I mean, that's the interesting thing is people don't want to acknowledge that a comic shop is a store like any other, and it
Right.
has to provide a good customer experience.
Yep.
I wrote when I used to write for the Comic Book eMag, which was like a newsletter that went out every week, and I wasn't the person in charge of it. I just discovered that I could send the guy like whatever I shat out of my brain that week, and he would publish it.
Yeah.
And I'm like 19, 20 at this point. I used to write them in class, because who needs to pay attention in class, right?
That's like us with our podcasts.
Yeah.
God.
But I wrote one about how comic shops should be. And I
Right.
was like, they really should be cleaner. They should be like Barnes & Noble. Maybe there should be a chair that you can sit in and flip through stuff.
Right.
And oh my God, I got the angriest, like, crankety, old man owns a comic shop letter from that. Like, you don't know anything about running a business. You don't know shit. What are you trying to lecture me about? If I put a chair out, nobody would ever buy anything. And I'm like,
So
yeah.
I used to get that. So here, I this is where my diamond experience comes in.
Okay.
Because as a diamond employee, as a diamond sales rep,
Yeah.
I had
Back when you worked for Diamond Dallas Page.
yes,
Yeah.
when I worked for DDP and did yoga.
Okay.
He made me do yoga and he made me talk to comic book stores.
Yeah, self high five.
So yeah, exactly. I just do this all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Serious. So I had half the direct market, which is the direct market is how comic book stores get their comics.
Yes.
So I had half of the direct market to sell toys to, and I didn't have Mitch from St. Mark's, but I would my coworker did. I listened just to bring it back to St. Mark's a little bit. I used to listen to them talk, and it was ooh.
Didn't you have Chris Eberly at one point? Or
I did have Chris Eberly briefly, but he wasn't doing toys, so we
Right.
didn't really talk, which is fair.
Yeah.
But like the thing about comics retail is it's incredible because it is like the most American business that I can think of. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like when you think of the American dream, like people going, I'm going to make something for myself and I'm going to do it and I'm going to, do whatever I can to make this business work.
Right.
Like, and just pick it up from nowhere. It's one of the last places you can do that because you can't just go, oh, I'm going to go open a Walmart. It's franchising and all that. I can open a McDonald's, it's franchising and all that. So comic book stores are opened by just average folk who just want to open a store that they can have fun at, or B, sell something that they love, or C, whatever.
Yeah. Which also leads to being able to innovate and do some new and interesting things with the space. Yeah.
But the funny thing is, I had to also help new comic book stores, start out.
Right.
I had to give them advice, which in my case,
don't do it. No, walk away.
no, I mean, sort of yes, but no. Basically, like, it shocked me how few people came into it with experience or any ideas or any not like they were stupid or but they didn't know what they were getting themselves into.
A lot of these people, it was their first retail experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, like, I mean, comic stores have closed but a lot of the new ones didn't last more than 2 or 3 years, which makes sense. I mean, it's like restaurants, if you in the last 5 years you're set, but a lot of people drop off.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people who did not, and even some of the experienced people who didn't like, I just took things for granted, and like I would explain things and I'm like, and they'd be like, really, you do that? I'm like, you don't do that? Like, keep a track of inventory, keep track of what's sold.
Manhattan Comics and More.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, Manhattan Comics and More and Brooklyn Comics and More are perfect examples of that.
But see, I don't know anything about him because he closed before I left the city.
Of course, yeah.
But people get into this, and people get into this with the greatest intentions, and some people do great, like Amalgam Comics in Philly. Yeah. They opened while I was at Diamond. I didn't have them, but they're an incredible store. They're so good. I think someone wrote. I think Comics Beat wrote them up. No, it was a mainstream. I don't know. I shared the link a while ago, but wrote them up, and
that's the one that has a
black owner, black
female
woman,
and black, yeah.
Exactly,
which is
in
rare,
Philly. Yeah, which is incredible, and it's great, and it's a great store, and there are
Black
a lot of
Girl
stores
Magic.
like that. Woo! Yeah, exactly. Like, I could cite so many great owners out there.
There's a few in New York too. In case, I mean, people who don't live in New York, or even those who live in New York and think we're just going to shit on stores here, there are some good stores. We will mention them later.
Absolutely.
But yeah, continue.
Yeah, no, I like Third Eye Comics in Annapolis. I mean, there's so many. I don't want to take a dump on anyone but the point is, people that's a kind of a problem. Is there's no training, there's no on the job. It's all on the job experience.
People think
when they
if
start
you
out.
build it, they will come. not understanding that like people come because you're offering a good experience. You're not just offering this isn't a store thing, but remember those guys who tried to make a video game con in Washington DC?
Oh
do you
my
guys know
God, yes.
what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yes.
They dumped their life savings into this, and they just assumed like 100,000 people were going to show up because PAX gets like 50,000, and that's only because they have to cap the attendance. So they like, well, we're going to get 100,000 people easy. Yeah, there was like 2,000 people there.
Yeah.
Because they just assumed people would come, not understanding like there's a lot of mechanics that go into it.
You have to build small. If you're going to do a con, like you do a hotel con. Well, the hotel con.
The Baltimore one. What was that?
My God! I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, they
I knew a lot of people that
they did a indie. Was it Indiegogo or a Go?
Yeah, it was an Indiegogo. It was Indiegogo. I remember that.
Where they tried to rent out the Baltimore Convention Center and have an actual like full-fledged convention.
It was
They
the
had
inclusive con.
Yeah. It was supposed to be an all-inclusive for everybody con. Gay, lesbian, everything.
The Fire Festival of Comic Cons.
It was pretty damn close. It was pretty damn close to it. There were people who were going
Universal
to attend.
Fan Con.
Thank you.
Yes, that's what it
We
was.
were all blanking on the name. Yeah.
But I mean, there were people that were going to attend that actually wound up putting together a small little event the same weekend that actually turned out excellent because they actually put the time and the effort in and got lucky and found space nearby, and a lot of people who were going to go.
A lot of people chipped in too, realizing that it was a
Yeah.
bad situation because people had dropped so much money to get to the city,
Yes.
to pay for the tables, to travel.
There were people who paid for the all-inclusive package, which included like a hotel room, and when they were supposed to get backstage access to all of the panels that were going forward, and they had booked their flights already. They were going from across the country to here, and found out days before the con that their hotel was canceled.
So did you guys watch the Fire Festival?
I watched both of them.
It's funny because like that's sort of the same thing. Where
It
like
is, yeah.
the people who organize it think that this is going to be such a huge thing, and then they underprice everything, and then they figure, oh shit, this is going to cost $26 million, and we've priced $500 tickets for all inclusive. That's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
That's absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think people. I mean, and just to bring it back to comic book stores. Like I said, I don't want to dump on anyone. I just think when you're gonna get into creating, this is just small business in general. If you're gonna start a small business, have a plan, have expectations, lower those expectations, and fully expect your plan to blow up in your face and completely go wrong because you can't control so many things. You can't control people coming in. You can't control a bad experience someone has and then Yelp bombing you because they didn't like what you did just because you had a bad day or you said something that they interpreted wrong.
Yeah.
Like we even had that in Midtown. Someone said that someone said something that they didn't mean, and it turned out really badly. And it was just like, it's just so weird. There's so much you can't control, but that doesn't mean you just kind of wing everything. You wing everything. It's
you can bring
disaster.
this right back around to St. Mark's because, a lot of people have been lamenting it's gone, but we did see a lot of people shitting on it, and a lot of those complaints weren't even like the ones I brought up, but they came down to the owner, Mitch.
Mitch, yeah.
And the thing is, I have heard like all these horror stories in the past month about the thing, and the thing is, Mitch definitely. I have a story with Mitch, but I will save that for later.
I'm of the belief that over the last few years, Mitch has been stepping down his presence at the store, and that might be why people are more positive about it today.
Yeah, well, the thing is, with Mitch, and it's people have said this about him, and it's very clear that he got worn down over years of having to deal with like shoplifters, having to deal with just rude like that kind of stuff. Just a lot of the things he did were in response to that.
Yep, sure.
You had to. I didn't know that they had a bag check for a while.
I know.
For the customers and for the employees, which is just shitty. Like I've worked at Barnes & Noble and we did a bag check and it was just like the rudest, grossest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the manager open somebody's like Tupperware.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's
and everybody's
always
sitting there
awkward.
going, why? What do you think you're going to hide a book and chicken soup?
Apparently, I mean, it wasn't a near mint comic, so I mean, I guess they didn't care if it had a little bit of noodles on it.
Actually, maybe I will tell like my Mitch story.
Go ahead.
The one interaction I've ever had with this dude.
Please, because I don't think I've ever actually met the guy, to be honest.
Okay.
He stands in the back of the store.
then
And
I've
stairs
seen
holes
him.
through
Yeah,
I've
Hal
seen
Hal told the story about that.
Yeah, he
about how Hal went, who used to work at Midtown,
Yeah.
now and like he wrote a novel, and now he lives upstate. I forget.
I think he lives upstate or in Connecticut. I don't
Yeah,
remember which.
but
one.
Hal
He's still
said
writing. Yeah.
he was buying. He wanted to buy some old like pulp comics. I don't remember the title.
Yeah.
but he went into St. Mark's and he asked like, "Hey, do you have so and so?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's check the back issues." And they go into the back and they pull out the boxes, and the employee lets Hal look through the box, and then Mitch runs over like, "What are you doing? You can't look through those!" And he rips the box away from him.
Wow.
Even though, again, the employee is standing right there watching Hal go through the box. He apparently didn't trust Hal or his own employee.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But, okay, so my Mitch story was, this was about 2001, 2002. And I was writing for a college fanzine. The hilarious part is this was the fanzine for U Maryland College Park, like the Terrapin Anime Society. I don't even go to U Maryland. I just had a lot of friends down there.
Right.
And
Go
we
Terps.
were, one of the things we were doing, I think, was like a guide to like nerd tourism, nerd travel. Like, hey, you're going to go to New York. Here are places to check out.
Right.
And I included like, here's the comic shops, and here's St. Mark's. And St. Mark's, you'll always get the bored goth girl, and it's on St. Mark's, so it's really cool. I gave it a pretty decent write up in the thing, but I needed to take photos for the piece. Like every store had to have photos, so I go down to St. Mark's, the street, and I'm standing in St. Mark's, the street,
Right. Outside.
taking photos of the exterior. And Mitch must have spotted me from in the store, and he runs out. "What are you doing?" I'm taking a photo. "You can't do that." "Well, I already did." "Well, you can't do that." I'm like, "This is, I can take the photo." He's like, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "For a magazine. It's for a fanzine. That's, you got a good write up. Like, you should be happy." And he's like, "You can't do that. It's like a security risk. I can't have people taking pictures." And I'm just like, but I already took the
Peak
photo.
paranoia.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I did not take shit from him. I was just like, dude, I've already taken the photo, and I'm standing on public property. You can't stop me. Again, because I was standing on St. Mark's, the street. I wasn't even on the sidewalk.
Right.
And he just,
Yeah, he just got frustrated and started screaming.
he's just
yeah.
sputtering. And
course.
eventually he kind of slunk back in. And mind you, I could see him still looking at me in the street.
Yeah.
It's just like, that actually was my breaking point with St. Mark's. Was just like, are you fucking shitting me?
So,
Like,
some
paranoia.
Yeah, no, totally.
and that's just it. Like some owners, whether it be comic shops or whether it just be stores in general, are just not made for friendliness. Not made for inviting.
Retail can wear you down.
Yeah.
Like I just said, it can really wear you down, and people, well, like you say, when they walk in with no experience, know
Yeah.
someone who runs a store but has never worked retail is going to be in for a bad time. Like,
Sure.
has never worked in service industry.
Right.
Because
right.
customers will be dicks.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the, bur- and
you
the,
have
bur-
to
and the
deal with
burnout is there too. Like we know people who have started up comic book shops or were thinking about starting up comic shops, and even just the process of the daily grind.
Rocket ship.
And it's-
Rocket ship.
They
yeah.
didn't want to run a comic shop anymore.
Yeah, Bergen
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah,
Was Bergen Street burnout or?
They switched into publishing. I don't know if they were burnt out, but they definitely
yeah, they were just moving on. That's what they said. It was time for them to move on, so that's what they did. But I mean, with other people that we know that just it just came to a point where they just couldn't sustain it, and they had to end it. It's not for everybody. With St. Mark's here, from what I know, they owned the building at one point. I don't know if they still do.
Yeah, some of the reports I saw were like they own the building, so he's not actually being pushed out by rent. It is, from what I've heard, that Mitch just does want to move on,
which is fine. It's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. It's just I'm not the type of person that has to automatically be positive about a store when they're closing.
or be sad because,
yeah.
like I said, Forbidden Planet's a few blocks away.
Right.
You still have Midtown. You still have JHU.
well, for me, it's a mixed bag because I feel sad because all the friends that I've made that work there, they had great experiences from
Right.
what they all tell me, and I feel bad for them because they actually remember it fondly, and that's fair.
And that's just it. I'm not taking away positive memories from people who had good times there. I'm not taking away positive memories from people who worked there and enjoyed themselves. I just didn't have those memories.
Yeah, I didn't personally I mean, I like the memories of going there as a high school and
Right.
college kid and hanging out with my friends in St. Mark's. Sure, I kind of those I cherish. I don't know if the store's always been that great to me,
Yeah.
especially since they didn't. I mean, that's me. That's personal petty
it's-
bullshit.
yeah, but
it-
still.
To me, like St. Mark's was like the old school comic shop that this is kind of one of the reasons I want to podcast is like,
Yeah.
it's that old school, and people lament the loss of the old school. But in this case, again, Sam Jackson, yes, it deserved to die, and I hope they burn it. Like,
Yeah, we don't
that's
need
how
comic book guy anymore.
Like, I don't like those stores. I mean, I grew up going to those stores, but I think my experiences now are way better. I like,
totally.
like JHU is important to me because the guys have always been nice to me. They're always super friendly. I mean, I remember one time in Jim Hanley's, the one on Chambers Street, I was standing on line to buy some stuff, and then I realized I forgot something, so I stepped off the line to get it. And I like walk around, and I hear like these two black guys who were behind me like, oh, what's up with her? I don't know, some stupid white bitch. And I'm like, again, 14 or 15.
Right, yeah, of
this
course.
is the kind of thing, it's the kind of culture you don't need a comic shop. And the thing is, like, it hit me because I don't think I've ever heard anybody put like my race into a comment like that before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
kind of was like
weird.
smacked across the face. And I go up to buy my comics, and it was Nick was like, what's wrong? And I said, those guys just called me a stupid white bitch. He was ready to jump over the counter and chase them out down the street because he just saw how much it hit me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've always been super nice to me.
Oh, my
like
God.
they always
totally.
find stuff for me. Midtown, I've always had good experiences.
Well, Midtown hires great people.
Oh, stop! And you know what? Honestly, I've had really good experiences at Montessori. I think that Montessori.
They're very old school, but yeah,
I've been
like,
once, so I don't know.
Well, okay.
They're technically right across the street from us, and we can't really.
Are they though? Are they really right across the street?
They're like
not.
3 blocks away.
Yeah, but
it's Manhattan,
I
Ralph.
know. But what they've tailored themselves to, which is smart, and something that I was going to bring up, is that they're very much more of a gaming and comic shop.
Yeah, no, they're
They're a
definitely
nerd
more.
hole.
Yeah, they're a nerd hole, and this day and age, I feel like you're gonna be a lot more successful as a nerd hole than you are a straight up.
dude,
comic
I
I-
just coined this term. No, because that's what I think
Yeah.
about. I think there's like the straight comic shop that may or may not sell toys.
Yeah.
And then there's like, what I call the nerd hole. And the thing is, they do basically have the chairs and tables that I've brought up.
Sure.
It's just that they encourage you to hang out in there. And
So,
then there's the
That's
classy.
what Bulletproof has become as well. Bulletproof is very much, and God, I'm just going to keep using it, a nerd hole. Like it's
My
I'm sorry to everyone listening to this that I am
this
now.
is really funny because a couple of days ago, I thought in my head, I want to open up since this is right after GameStop said it couldn't find a buyer.
Yeah.
I want to open up a chain of stores that do comics, gaming, and like events, and I want to call it Nerd Spot. That's why I called it in my head.
Nerd Spot.
So now, if anyone wants to, if any like venture capitalists want to throw like $500 million to me,
Well, Nerd Spot is
So I can
definitely a
open
more
this.
marketable name than Nerd Hole.
right? Because I actually spent time thinking about this in the shower. I actually showered for like 30 minutes, which is like 20 minutes longer than I usually do. I was just thinking about this.
Just showering, thinking of your nerd hole.
Yes, yes.
I mean,
Clean those nerd holes,
I
damn it.
think it doesn't even need to be multimedia. You know what I mean? That
That's
in the
just
sense
me.
of having video
Yeah.
games, board games. Because I think of Card Kingdom and Mox Boarding House in Seattle, which
Yeah.
never of you
Oh,
have been
yeah.
to, and
I
you need to
know.
go.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah, there's something to be said. Like, there's a restaurant at Mox Boarding House, and me and my friends, my friend, Catherine, were just like, "Hey, we want to play a game," and they're like, "Do you want us to bring them over?" And I'm like, "Would you?"
Yeah.
If I ever work for
Yeah.
Wizards of the Coast or I don't know, Penny Arcade, I would move and I would go there all the time.
Oh my God. Yeah. But
You want to meet my friends from Wizards of the
I mean,
Well, I told Ian, I was
Yeah,
like,
I could
Ian,
write the next D&D. Yeah.
does it sound like I'm bragging when I'm like, my friend Greg? And Ian's like,
like,
no, you
no.
have a friend named Greg.
exactly, you
That's
have
fair.
a friend named Greg who happens to work for Wizards of the Coast.
our
That's
friend
it.
our friend Jamal,
Yeah.
my friend, I don't know, someone in the comic industry.
Joey,
My friend-
Joey Jojo Shabadoo.
My friend
Yeah.
Jamal, who is friends with Adam, who also works at Verizon Media. And
Yeah.
why is the world tiny?
Because it is.
So-
every nerd knows every nerd, and every nerd knows Raph.
Ref doesn't know what I told you
Oh,
before.
yeah.
So I had a date on Thursday.
Yeah.
Guy I met on OkCupid.
Great aside
Okay.
for a podcast. Continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in a long.
I'm
he's-
excited.
Like we have a 97% compatibility.
How does he know me? How does he know me?
Apparently, his childhood best friend is Vita Ayala.
Oh, get out of here.
It was just like, no, because I was like, oh yeah, man, I haven't been on a date in a while. The last person I went on a date, I'm like really sad it didn't work out. She was really awesome. She wrote comics, and she's like, oh, who was she? I was like, oh, she's like Mags Visaggio.
Oh my god.
And then he was like, oh, like, I was like, Kim and Kim. He's like, yeah, I know Kim and Kim. And he's like, why?
It's a small world.
Yeah.
Well, mind you, when I found out that your boss knows one of my junior high school friends, I was freaking out.
Well, that's because all Jews in Brooklyn know each other.
That is also true.
That's very true.
That is also true. So I'm not even. I'm also not even saying that like smaller comic shops can't survive as just being comic shops. Just you got to be small. You can't be the large, like, cavernous comic shop.
You need to work your way up.
Yeah.
Because even the big ones here started off kind of modestly.
Sure.
Yeah. Midtown was 1 floor in Times Square.
Right.
And then it was 2 floors. And then it was Grand Central.
Yeah.
And then it was downtown.
And St. Mark's
And now we
is
own the
small.
world.
I'll give them that. They were small. It's just they were also cramped.
Yeah, they branched out, which was interesting. But yeah, the
But then they
locations
contracted.
closed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think the Montague closed maybe 10 years ago.
That was a
15
while
years
ago. The one on Chamber Street closed.
That closed in 2004,
Yeah.
2005.
Yeah, it was a weird period because that's also the bookstore I worked at that was there closed.
Yeah, that bookstore.
yeah.
Yeah, because I
1998,
bought but yeah, my point before, I didn't make it before, but like St. Mark's closing brings about a general sense of melancholy for me because while I work for Midtown and I've been there for years, I remember back in high school in like the late 90s, mid 2000s.
Boom.
There were like 24 comic book stores in Manhattan.
Yep.
And we're down to the 3 Midtowns, JHU, Forbidden, and like
There's Carmine.
Chameleon.
There's also the new one that opened not too far from Carmine, West Village.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I think the
There used to
Carmine
be-
managers used to run that.
Yeah.
There used to be a shop on 8th Street that had different names. Like it was 8th Street Comics. And then
Yeah.
it was Sleep of Reason Comics for a while.
Yeah.
There also used to be one like a couple of blocks down from Hunter College.
Yeah, Big Apple
I think so.
or something like
It
that.
was on the second floor. I remember
Yes.
it was by that puppy shop.
I used to go there during my breaks at college,
Oh, nice.
but that's what that was 2007. That's 11 years ago. I don't know if they're still there.
No, they're not. They're
Yeah,
not.
and
Like,
see, they're gone.
I think the pet shop's still there, but the
I bought pet
Yeah,
food
sorry
there
to
once.
everyone who doesn't live in New York. I kind of want to bring it, but, like, make it a little more universal
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
That, you can see that living in New York City, we actually have a wealth of choice when it
We
comes
do.
to everything, bookstores, supermarkets, but like even comic shops. But that has kind of declined in recent
It is,
years.
yeah.
But the thing is, because
Because
we
the
have
rent is too damn high.
well,
Except-
that's part of it, but there's also just sustainability, simple sustainability.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, look at the comics industry in general. Looking at the fact that DC's cutting back on their books. That was announced somewhat recently.
That's
that
fine.
they're doing that.
Again, this is a topic for a completely different show.
Yeah.
That I feel like single issues do need to die. Like you can
Yes.
keep some single issues. If you want to have a Batman title,
I don't
a
disagree.
X-Men title, like you just want to be able to just keep up with like an ongoing narrative.
Yeah.
That's fine. But for titles that don't really cross over with anything, I feel like they should just be trades at this point.
Yeah.
And when a single issue is $5, that's a problem.
Yeah, it is, and especially I hate so Marvel. I really feel like Marvel overdoes it. They put out way too much material,
They do.
and I'm kind of tired of having to like look at all these Marvel titles that I don't care about.
Especially unnecessary miniseries, like miniseries that could easily just be collected. Like you
Miniseries
were
need to
talking
die.
about.
Right,
Miniseries
yeah.
need to die.
When, once I know, because your investment's
make
already
digital
taken
only.
away.
Well-
Because once you know it's only gonna be 6 issues.
Yeah.
Wait for the trade. Wait
Right.
for the
Yeah.
trade. Everyone does it.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the move, like the change on that, isn't going to come from Marvel because Marvel's clearly not learning its lesson.
No.
That has to come from the comic shop owners.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
again,
we-
you're talking about
yeah,
people having
stores have to
experience.
order less.
Yeah, they need to be like, I am not ordering this miniseries. This is a waste of my shelf space. Like that's
Yeah.
what they need to start saying.
And look, I think, Comics Per was not that long ago, which is like it's an event for registered members of the comics retail community, and I don't. That's where the whole thing about Dan DiDio cutting 15% of the titles came from. I don't know what Marvel did there, but I'm sure the retailers are bringing up that concern.
Right.
I just don't think they realize that they have the power. Well, the other thing too is retailers complain that Diamond puts out too many books. Period.
Yeah.
There are too many publishers out there. That's a tough one because you want a diversity of options.
Oh, totally.
But too much, it becomes diluted. Like it's like
Well,
you got 16.
Well, the thing is, choice is generally a good thing.
Yeah.
That's why you have to pay attention to who your audience is.
And you can't say that there are too many publishers because simply like there are enough people that still go through the catalog where if they want to buy a book, they're going to tell a store and they're going to buy that issue. And that the main problem we have are the guys who have the giant ass pull list and then they'll come in for 3 months.
Yes.
Okay, so this is interesting because I was actually thinking about this a lot.
Yeah.
Like, why do we still need comic shops? And because now at this point you can get digital or you can order stuff online. Because I was thinking about that, like, we used to order from DCBS, and that was pretty great. Like, it was so cheap, and you get it once a month.
That's
and
discountcomicbookservice.com.
Yeah, and some people would say, oh, well, you get the community, and, like, I can go and I can create a pull list. But, yeah, a lot of people don't pick up their books. And, of course, by the time they pick them up, like, or rather they come in and they're like, well, I don't want this. And now it's 6 months out of date, and they can't sell.
Yeah.
Do you guys still do you guys still do a poll?
Yeah, I have a poll.
I feel
I'm
like
late.
I feel like pull lists need to die, honestly. Like, if you're not going to pick up your books right away, you should be ordering.
I was out for
CBS.
3 months, and I didn't pick up anything in those 3 months, and I'm playing catch up.
Well, but does Midtown cancel a poll if you're waiting long enough? Like does it actually
yes.
straight up?
I don't know how much I can go into detail because they might get mad at me.
No. I'm not asking for that.
After
much,
a couple, after a while, it also depends. Like, if your folder's breaking and you've got like 150 books in there after 2 weeks,
oh, of course,
they'll be like, yeah, you got too many books on hold.
Right.
Or if you've got 15 weeks of 10 books, then you've got too many books on hold.
Yeah.
They have a system. They've had a system for years,
Good.
and they've taken care of it. But like, it kind of sucks because, like, I've seen people that I like that don't pick up books, and I'm like,
I know.
What are you doing?
And that's just it. Like, you need to, if you're on a good standing and you're on a good relationship with a store, and you know that you're not going to be coming in for a few weeks, tell them.
I mean, honestly,
it's a common courtesy.
When I say that single issues need to die, it's like, oh, you didn't pick up your pull list for 6 months.
Yeah.
It's going to be in trade by then sometimes.
Yeah.
Just wait for the trade then. And the thing is, they're easier to store. I mean, people still have this obsession with collecting comics, though it's kind of silly now.
As someone who has dropped most of his books but will continue to pick up Action Comics and Superman until I die, I completely understand that.
Like, I think it's okay to have one or two things you actually really like.
Of course.
Like, I've been buying Die, recently, and I really enjoy it.
And Ninja Turtles.
And I like having the physical copies of Bitch Planet and Man Eaters. Where's my number one, Raph?
It's in a bag.
In this apartment?
No.
Yeah.
No one reminded me to bring it. It's fine. I have it. I physically have it.
I have issues 2 through like 6 at my apartment.
I physically have it. I'll bring it.
I bought the first issue of Young Justice because I had to.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, so did I.
With Man Eaters, I just wanted to say, you guys have heard me mention this before, was that, so I saw it on the shelf. It looked kind of interesting. I read some reviews. They were kind of mixed. I was like, you know what, let me give it a shot anyway. And then I try to buy number 1 at Forbidden Planet, but they don't have first, second, third, whatever printing it's up to right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, the guy goes down in the basement and even looks for me because, again, Forbidden Planet there's some real mensches in there. They're very nice.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, have you tried St. Mark's? I'm like, no, I'm not buying anything at St. Mark's. And he goes, why would you? It's terrible.
Yeah. St. Mark's has a reputation. They've had a reputation for years.
That was the last interaction I had with St. Mark's, anything adjacent prior to the announcement that they were closing. I was just like,
I think I got you a first printing. I'm not 100%. I didn't
fine.
open
Like,
it.
that's great.
Yeah.
It's going to be so valuable.
I bought issue 2 with the cover that's all like sparkly or warbly or whatever.
I have the sparkly cover for you. I think that's first print.
It's crazy. Like, I feel like comics as a physical object can still be a thing worth loving, worth wanting. Like,
no, absolutely.
Like, again, Man Eaters has these weird, like, variant covers that don't even cost more. They just have lenticular shit or.
I love that stuff.
Well, that was the case with Young Justice also. Like, really, very few of their variant covers were extra money, but I had to buy that frickin' cover of
the meme cover
of Superboy
Distracted
walking away.
boyfriend
Yeah,
meme.
distracted boyfriend meme.
Yeah, I missed out on that.
I had to because I'm a fucking sucker.
You should frame it.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what comic shops can do is put you in touch with the physical object in that case.
Yeah.
But so much being published now is just garbage. And the thing is, that's the real reason comic shops are dying. It's not,
Well, the other thing is
SJWs.
The other thing is Marvel. So Marvel not only puts out a lot of content, they put out a lot of fucking variant covers every single fucking month, and I'm tired of looking at them.
Yeah,
I love Scotty Young. I love his baby covers.
And you know as well as I do, where do half of these wind up? In 50% off at a comic convention the next time you're there.
Yep.
Because
50% off is being generous.
50 to 75. Yeah.
Yup.
Cents.
Yeah.
We've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
it's
sometimes.
frustrating because like
buy one get one. I saw one time at a comic convention. Buy one get one variant cover.
Yeah, no, we're
and it's their ordering thresholds too, which is like you have to like. So if you ordered, let's say it's X-Men #1, they're doing new X-Men #1. You have the last issue you did.
He's not. That's not even a hypothetical. That's the worst part about
No,
this.
I got a little inside info, but I'm not. I can't say anymore.
Stop. There
is a new X-Men series out.
Yes,
now,
there
isn't
is.
It's by Matt Rosenberg, a couple other people.
And Cyclops is back.
Ed
and
Brisson,
he's
Kelly
back
Thompson.
in his 90s costume for some fucking.
I love that fucking 90s costume though.
Too many goddamn.
With the thing, and then he presses the button like a
many
like Star
goddamn
Trek.
pouches, man.
There are never. Listen, you're a 90s kid. You should know better. Pouches are. Look, I wear cargo pants because I'm a 90s comic book kid. I need the extra pockets.
Oh, God.
But anyway, the point was, so let's say the last issue of Uncanny X-Men is number 36.
Yeah.
And you ordered 15 copies.
Yeah.
To get the variant covers, you need to order 150% of that. So you need to order, what is that, 150%? It's 22 copies. So you have to order 22 copies of the regular cover, and then you can order the variants.
Yeah, no.
That's the problem that Marvel has that annoys retailers. That annoys me.
I
Why do we need
completely
7
agree.
extra copies that I'm definitely not going to sell just to get this stuff that it will sell?
It's broken, and it is one of the major problems with being a retailer is dealing with shit like that.
Yeah,
I mean, and
it's impossible.
And it's not even just that; it's bookstores and like a bunch of other things where it's about supply and demand. And if the demand's not there, and you have too much supply, it's just sitting around collecting dust.
That's
Basically,
why a lot of the stuff gets repackaged. You know that the announcement that they're no longer doing those like chunky editions. DC.
no, they're
no longer exclusive.
They're no longer
exclusive.
exclusive to Walmart. And the thing is,
Yeah.
like, I love how everyone's complaining about it, including retailers. I'm like, that's actually a good idea for Walmart, and it's cheaper if it is exclusive. But I get if other stores want to carry them.
Sure,
But that's how like Marvel countered that by having like 10 packs of old comics.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you should worry that you even have excess print. You shouldn't be printing that much more.
You know what's funny? That's actually how I got into collecting comics because when right around my mom and dad's divorce, in those 99-cent stores, they used to have those packs of comics for like $1. For like $1.
I know what you're talking about.
I got
Toys R Us used to sell those.
yeah,
too. Yeah.
I got the entire reign of Superman that way.
Oh my God! Wow!
I
Right on.
loved it.
Nice.
Eradicator was my pick for Superman.
Yeah.
he was the real
99-cent
Superman.
stores are like a special case because they are kind of designed to get you hooked on things.
they
Yeah,
are,
and they're designed for it, and those are like that's where the excess should go. But the fact that they have so much excess, they can offer it to everyone.
And
is
if you
troubling.
want cheap Chex Mix, it's a good place to go for cheap Chex Mix.
I'm gonna kick you.
Bold party
Where's your
flavor.
foot? Where's your foot?
Yeah. All right. So before we wrap up, I feel like we should give some suggestions of good comic shops and also some ideas of like maybe what comic shops can do to improve themselves.
And real quick,
Yeah.
comics are for everyone.
I was waiting for you to do that, and thank you so much for throwing that in there because
Sure.
what would our listeners of Comic Timing do without you doing that at least once?
I don't know.
His parents are no okay.
Well,
we're
you
not
said
doing that.
everyone. There is Anyone Comics, which
Yeah.
Jamal is always
Yep.
talking up. I haven't been there, but Jamal loves it.
Demetrius's store. This is how he talks because he's Demetrius.
Is he listening to this?
This is an in joke
hope
that
so.
only 6 people will understand.
I would actually suggest Carmine. I've been
okay.
there. I've been there a couple times.
It's too small for me.
Yeah.
So, like, again, this can be a whole other episode, but I go to shops here in the States, and they're okay. I remember taking my friend, oh my God, why am I blanking on her name? Liz Mendoza to Jim Hanley's for the first time, and she literally fell on her knees. And she's just like, oh my God, like her hands up to the sky. That was the one on 33rd Street. The
Yeah.
really
Yeah, the
big,
second one.
The big location.
I love that location so much.
I miss
It
it.
was a good one.
Yeah.
That-
Current location, they do a lot with the space they have, but it is way smaller.
It's a little out of the way.
Yeah.
I love you, Nick and Ron, though.
They're
Still love you.
awesome. They're
yeah, but
awesome.
it is out of the way. They
They're good
said
people.
they accepted that, and they want to be more of a community space.
Yes.
Sure, that's good.
And I respect that. I really do.
I actually was there. I was there not that long ago because I had a hospital appointment nearby.
Oh, sweet.
And I bought Paper Girls from them. I could have gotten it at work, but I wanted to give them a little money.
Yeah,
So.
why the hell not, man?
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, talking about good comic shops. I mean, I miss Bergen, I miss Rocket Ship, Desert Island, in was it Greenpoint or Williamsburg?
Yes, I was going to
That's
bring
like
them up.
indie comics and self-published stuff. It's just it's weird. Like you're not going to go there for Superman, which is another a way you can survive. Is like you don't need to carry Superman and Batman and X-Men because that's what you expect to see in a comic shop.
Yeah.
Like cater to your audience. And here they're like, well, we're in Hipsterville, so we're going to publish we're going to sell hipster comics to hipsters.
Yeah. Collector Cave in the Bronx on Milltown Road is actually really awesome. They just moved into a much larger space. Here's an image for at least some of you people.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
You can put
I
that in the
recognize
show
them.
notes.
Yeah.
You have show notes, right?
I've seen them.
I can when I need
What
to.
kind of podcast is this where you don't have show notes? I fully expect show notes.
Very few podcasts actually put the time and effort to put in show notes these days, but I will go ahead and
show
add them
notes.
in.
Show notes.
Or when you do the social media, put out the links in the social media.
I will do that. Although now I feel like I need to title this episode "Comic Shops and Show Notes."
Yes.
So yeah, we're talking about shops though. Like I mean, in general, I feel like New York is a very good space when it comes to comic shops. So Midtown's great.
Yeah,
you know,
3 branches all over Manhattan.
I kick you too.
I actually really, no joke though, I actually really like the downtown location.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
I really dig it.
I mean, I love all the people at Times Square, but I'm a disabled person now, and it's hard for me to get around. So I have to work there.
Yeah.
So downtown's actually nice. I mean, Grand Central's always going to have a special spot in my heart because I used to go there after Hunter, and I would always bother them about getting a job there.
Yours is the first location.
Yeah,
right?
mine's the Alpha.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So
Yes. You youngin.
yeah,
I thought I was double checking.
yeah. I've been. God, I actually was talking about it with a customer the other day. I've been shopping or working there since 2001.
Wow.
That's 18 years I've spent with Midtown Comics.
Oh, and
in some way, shape, or form.
I've been shopping at Jim Hanley's since 1994.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That's why I
We're fucking old.
generally walk in and be like, "Hey, Nick, I need this now."
Yeah, because you can have that relationship with them.
I've seen him yell. He yelled at somebody once because I asked for something and they were like ignoring me. And he's like, "I was one of our long-term customers. Get her thing now."
I love Nick so much.
Nick is cool.
He's awesome.
I mean, he used to duck my calls at Diamond, but whatever. It's okay. I love you, Nick. I know you guys aren't a toy store, and I would constantly bother you about it. And I know you didn't really want to hear from me, but it's cool. I still love you guys. You guys are a great store. You guys do great stuff.
Nick, I hope you're listening to this. I really, really
Listen, it's been 2 years since I left Diamond. I can talk about this.
And Bulletproof Comics, I would say, is definitely worth the trip if you're going to be in by Brooklyn College. It's a damn good store to go to.
So if I
Our friend David was like, "They screwed up my pull list. I hate them."
like 20 years ago, dude.
I know. I told him that. He's like, "That store sucks," and I'm like, "It seems fine to." Like,
my mother went into there when I was working at a sleepaway camp to get my books, and I didn't normally have a pull list with them, but
Sure.
I gave them a pull list saying I was going to be out of town for these weeks. My mother's going to pick them up for me. Can you please do me the favor of handing them to her and blah 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 blah? And they had every single comic that was on my list. And that's how I kept on Alias, Wade and Waringo, Fantastic Four at the time.
So good.
Like that they were my.
I got those from
hookups.
Hanley's.
Yeah.
Staten Island Hanley's, because I used to, when I lived in Staten Island for a year, God help me, I was going to that one because that was the closest one.
Nice.
no, I'm scrolling through my my swarm history just for comic shops in other cities that I've enjoyed.
I can handle,
Well,
but
like
I'm going to piss
Isotope,
people off.
Isotope in San Francisco.
What do you mean you're gonna piss people off?
Because I'm going to forget people. I had 1,800 comic book stores as accounts, and I can't name them all.
I still pour a 40 out for Xanadu in Seattle.
Xanadu.
Xanadu was awesome.
Challenger's
and
still
really
a thing in Chicago?
Challenger's
I
still there.
liked Challengers.
Yeah.
I also liked G-Mart. Remember we went there in Chicago?
G-Mart's
Yes,
good.
I do remember that.
Docking Bay 93 is also out there. My friend Gabby has a store in Olympia called Olympia Comics and Cards, I think.
Oh, cool.
See, this is the problem.
Brave New Worlds in Philadelphia.
They're
is
terrific.
Is awesome.
My friend Joe, who is in South Africa, has a great store. My friend
South Africa?
yeah, Abberton.
on.
Abberton. I forget. Smallville Comics.
Wow.
In
Somebody
Australia,
save
in
him.
Melbourne. All Star Comics in the Philippines. We've read some Bulan store.
We've clearly made a.
I can't do this. If I forget people, they get mad at me.
Yeah, when I was in Paris, I went to Bulles in Tête. I don't speak French, so forgive my pronunciation.
Yeah.
I showed you the pictures of those where I was just like, I basically wanted to spin around in the store because they had all of the bande dessinées on the wall. They had American comics. They had the manga. The guy was super nice to me. He started talking to me in French. I just smiled and nodded.
In Toronto, there was 6 stores back to back to back to back to back.
Really?
1 Million Comics closed. Silver Snail's really good.
Yeah.
Daniel's store. I forgot the name. I'm sorry, Daniel, for the name of your store.
Oh my God.
You see how stressful this is for me. Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Go to my buddy's Wes's store. I don't remember the name of Wes's store, but it's in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I miss you, Wes. We don't get to talk anymore. In Edmonton, there's Galaxy Comics.
Stop.
I'm going to cut your mic. Hey, the look on my face when I got to go to the real Forbidden Planet in the UK, and oh my God, the amount of shit that they had was amazing.
Awesome.
And that Adventure Time stuff that we walked out with.
They sell a lot of BioWorld stuff. Which
Yeah.
I don't think they distribute a lot of it here in the States.
I don't
It's
think
good
they
to know.
do.
Because when I was in Amsterdam, I also bought a bunch. I bought like some Zelda pajamas that I'd never seen before.
Midtown has a little bit of BioWorld stuff. BioWorld's available. It's just you have to get an account directly with them to really get anything.
Yeah, nobody really sells anything here.
So
it's hard.
What do you feel the major differences between comic shops overseas and here? Like
They take it seriously.
Wow, that's
They take comics seriously. They take the business seriously. Like, think about Japan, where manga is like 40% of their publishing output, which is crazy because you consider when I say of their publishing output, the 100% includes newspapers, books, and magazines, and then you have 40% that's just manga.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, there aren't really dedicated manga stores. Like, there are shops that sell a crapload of manga, but they don't call themselves manga
They're
shops.
bookstores.
Yeah, they're bookstores that specialize in comics. They might sell American comics, too.
And Barnes & Noble has a huge-ass manga section, usually.
Yeah, well, because Borders used to really bet deeply on that.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Barnes
yeah, they
Noble was
did.
like, yeah, let's do that.
Borders.
But yeah, Japan takes it seriously because it's
Borders.
just they're just books to them. They're just comics, and of course France. Jamal will probably pontificate for hours about
Yes, he will.
yeah. But I mean, again, I was like, I need to check out a French comic shop, and I was just like, this place is amazing. It's so beautiful and clean, and I love the way the books look.
Yeah, you sent me pictures, and it was outstanding.
Yeah, I was kind of
Yeah.
jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wanted to buy more, but there's only so much I could carry, so I bought 2 bande dessinées. I bought one that's called IRS, about
Yeah.
like an IRS agent.
Show me that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other one was I think it was about wineries. Like, as far as I can tell, it is about a woman inheriting her family's vineyard.
Interesting.
But I don't read French, so I'm just kind of squinting at the pictures.
Yeah.
But they also sold they sold manga, they sold American comics. They sell all that stuff in other stores too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, again, we talk about how comic shops kind of like, I feel like they are they're not necessary because you can buy a lot of the stuff in other stores.
Sure.
They sell it at Fnac,
Right.
in France. And
Yeah.
you can buy them, buy stuff. We mentioned Walmart. You can
Yeah.
buy stuff in Target, Barnes & Noble. It's just,
Amazon.
that's what trades are really the future here because they can go more places that the single issues can no longer go. 'Cause
The problem is with that though is the capital investment up front to the talent because you don't make back the money as quickly with trades as you do with comics.
That's true.
That's the financial issue.
but
that
isn't
they gotta
that, isn't,
figure
that
out.
But that's-
isn't that something you can work out with digital? Say, like, if you do...
Possibly? I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm
But then
just
here's the
looking.
thing, though, is that seems like something's broken in the financing model because Scholastic,
Yeah.
Raina Telgemeier.
But see, they use the book model
you mean
where
the
they
most popular
advance.
comic creator in all of the United States,
Yes.
Raina Telgemeier?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
Who's not publishing single issues. They're publishing books. They are selling them to children. They are sometimes deeply discounted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, see, that wouldn't be an issue for Marvel DC to go here's like, I don't know, 10 grand. Go finish your trade. Whereas with like Boom, I don't know, Boom, Dark Horse, even like the little guys like American Mythology or
You have to
the guys that do
figure-
Callus Prime.
But you have to figure
Lineforge.
Picture books
Yeah.
have an investment in the art, like especially if they're painted.
Yeah.
And they don't sell them 2 pages at a time. You buy a 24-page hardcover book for your
So
child.
I guess maybe what we're looking at is maybe like do it small, maybe like 50-page like books, comics, and then work your way up.
They do
with a
just
spine.
they have to rethink it. Yeah.
With a spine.
Yes, definitely. And we can get there over time. It's just there has to be a future for the comic shop in one way or the other. Because as somebody who's mostly gone digital, I still love occasionally going into the shop and buying
it's
something.
I've kind
I
of
love talking
rediscovered
shit in the
recently.
shop. That's my favorite thing. That's why I still work there.
The pleasure
Yeah.
of buying physical books and like buying them in a store is something I've been kind of getting back into. Like I went into Strand and I just was like, I want to buy a book, and I'm just poking around just to buy a book. I just wanted to buy
But
something.
don't try to organize their books. They hate when you try to organize.
Now it's organized. But for those who are, now I feel bad for all the non-New Yorkers here. The Strand bookstore is one of the biggest bookstores in New York. It is an independent bookstore.
Yeah.
They sell used books. They're kind of infamous for being a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And like I have friends who used to work there, and one of them was trying to alphabetize the sci-fi section, and the manager came over and just ripped everything off the shelf and put it back like randomly.
We don't do that here.
They're much better
Not
now.
in this house.
They're actually organized now, and I feel like that's helping their bottom line because I walk by and it's always packed there now.
And that's been a major change that I appreciate about the
Well, in
store.
general, since we were talking about what makes a successful store, like with comic shops and stuff, being organized, being clean does help. I can
Being
attest
friendly.
to
A to
that.
Z back issues.
When I worked at Science Fiction Mysteries and More, and that place was a mess, and I would actually, during my, when I was working there, I got paid shit. I was being paid off the books, and I'm just kind of poking around cleaning stuff up. And I go in the back, and there's just a pile of garbage in the back, and I start sorting through it, and I throw out a bunch of crap, and and I'm like, oh my god, there's a bunch of pulp magazines from the 60s and 70s back here.
Yeah.
And I start moving them to the front of the store, and they start selling like hotcakes because now people can find them and they can access
totally,
them.
sure.
And they're only like $5 a pop for some book that might have Isaac Asimov or Bradbury stories in it.
That is something staff picks will make me very happy when I walk into a shop. If there's like Raph's pick of the week or whatever.
Yeah, actually, my pick of the week was crap. Someone put Rainbow Bright in there, but I don't remember where I changed it to. I changed it to another jokey one. No, it was, I think, my legit pick of last week is probably something I read for comics first because that's all I read now.
Okay. Yeah. But nonetheless, like I really like seeing staff like putting that sort of effort in to let you know what their favorite books are.
Yeah, it shows a staff that actually cares about what they're selling.
Yes.
It shows a store that actually cares about the expertise of their staff members. I mean, even Barnes & Noble has staff picks.
Oh, yeah.
That was like the greatest time when I worked there. You were like, look forward to when they were like, hey, it's your week to pick a staff pick. And you're like, yes! I recommended Watchmen.
Yeah, I would
'cause
really love it if every store gave not only give their staff picks, but give them like a little paragraph so they can like go here. Describe this book in paragraph and we'll put it up. And like, because then you get to know, like, instead of going, because you don't know what who's Raph, well, not me, but who's Terry, who's Bill, come on, I'm Raph. Everyone knows me. But anyway.
Raph would just say, my name is Raph. This has a character named Raph.
That's pretty close to the actual truth of how things get picked.
And
the Ninja Turtles were created the same year I was born.
That's right, ladies and
tell
gentlemen.
the same narrative.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Batman movie coming soon. Coming soon. Raphael Suhu will be online buying that 5 weeks before it is on sale.
Oh, I don't need to. I'm just gonna. I'm getting invited to the premiere.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've talked to the guys at Nickelodeon.
Oh, good. That's good to hear.
Actually, they had a job opening not that long ago. I was tempted to take up.
Should have, man.
Do it.
But it wouldn't have been for Ninja Turtles, and I've been like, there are only 6 jobs in the world I want now. I want to be a fight choreographer.
Yeah.
I want to own Nerd Stop.
Yeah.
The franchise.
Nerd Stop.
I want to be a comic book writer.
Nerd hole.
I want to find Nerd hole.
It should be Nerd Stop.
I want to be a
hard one,
writer in entertainment.
Yeah.
That's what 4 jobs. I want to have a farm with a dog rescue.
Uh-huh.
And
you want to be a manager for.
And
for
I want to be brand manager for. Oh yeah, I can be a manager in wrestling, and I want to be the person in charge of Ninja Turtles for Nickelodeon. Those are only 6 jobs I want.
Okay. You could be Mean Green Okerlund. That'll be your.
Well, let me tell you something, Mean Green. This man over here is going to take us to the top.
Oh, Christ, what did I do? And please, if you have the room, a little lounge area couldn't hurt. Just a little bit. Like Isotope in San Francisco, freaking love that store. It's gorgeous, and then they have the little area in the front with the beanbag chairs to just chillax after you buy your books. And
Midtown doesn't have that space.
I know you don't, but if you did, you probably would.
Yeah, but then the tourists would come in and sit and want to relax.
Which is why it's called Midtown Comics, and you don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. You can't do it in Midtown. That's the only place you can.
I had a very politically incorrect thought there that if you had a lounge space in Midtown, someone would use it to breastfeed, and it's like you have the porn section back again.
Yeah, and all the kids would gape, and it'd be uncomfortable. And all the weirdo old guys would gape, and it'd be uncomfortable.
And on that note, any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Well, one that I'm burning in hell for that comment.
clearly, but I think this was a fruitful conversation. I think that for those of you who mourn the loss of St. Mark's Comics, please go ahead and mourn the loss. But I think there are more than enough comic shops to fill the gap here in New York.
Just go to Forbidden Planet.
It's right down the block.
Go to Midtown Comics in Times Square. We have 3 locations in Times Square, Grand Central, and downtown.
This is the first I'm hearing about this.
I know.
Do you have a website, perhaps?
Yes, we do. MidtownComics.com. We ship all over the world.
Wow, that's crazy.
They're getting free press, and I don't care.
Go figure.
It's not even my podcast. What do I give a shit?
And please stop into your local comic shop on Free Comic Book Day and buy something.
Don't just take the free comics.
Don't just take the free comics. If you're going there on Free Comic Book Day, buy something. They're probably going to have sales.
I went to 3 different comic shops on Free Comic Book Day. I don't think I bought anything. I was in Winnipeg.
You know what? You had to worry about luggage on the way back.
No. It was more like I was planning to spend it here in New York, and then my plane got turned around the night before.
Yeah, that was a weird day.
That was a weird
day. Most Free Comic Book Days, you wind up buying something. That was a weird day.
I don't buy anything on Free Comic Book Day, but it's either I'm working it or I'm at home sleeping because I don't want to deal with it.
Well, because I remember that Free Comic Book Day. Yeah, we were supposed to meet up to go to get free comics, and you tell me, oh hey, just so you know, my flight's delayed.
Yeah, because
no, it wasn't delayed.
It was turned around.
We were flying from Winnipeg to Toronto, and all of a sudden they're like, because of a storm in Toronto, and like the plane just starts turning.
We've got to turn around,
I was like, this bitch is turning around. Why are we turning around? It's like, yeah, we can't land in Toronto, so we're going back to Winnipeg. And then we get back to the airport, and they're like, everybody just go home. And I'm like, I was trying to go home. I mean, the thing is, people, because of Canadian, nobody was really complaining. There was like one lady who complained, and I said, I just checked the news, and 2 people died, and she's like, oh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're not allowed to complain.
We're sorry
if people
about
died.
that,
Yeah, but you went to some good shops when you were in Winnipeg.
They were okay. They were very old school, dirty.
Galaxy.
Messy. There was like
so you went to shops when you were in
There was
Winnipeg.
one store that was in like it had like a dirt parking lot in the back, and it shared a building with like a nail salon.
Ooh.
It was like one of those little nondescript white buildings. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think was that Galaxy Comics, because I know the owners of the.
It might have been Galaxy. There were 3 different stores I went to, and they were all fine. The one I liked, I think, was Galaxy.
Yeah, the owners are great. They're really nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I used to talk to them all the time.
Actually, Mighty Comics is the one that's a white box in a.
I don't know them, and that's probably a reason for that.
So in conclusion, unless your flight was turned around on the day of Free Comic Book Day, buy something at the shop when you're getting your free comics. Okay?
It doesn't even have to be a comic.
No, it doesn't. It could be a freaking card game. It could be a
buy
toy.
some magic cards.
It's okay to buy things that aren't comics. It's okay to sell things that aren't comics.
Yes.
Get some action figures.
Absolutely.
Buy me an action figure. Actually, everyone buy me an action figure on Free Comic Book Day.
Your birthday's coming up. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of buying Raph an action figure, just contribute to his GoFundMe.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I have a GoFundMe that no one's...
In fact, you know what? Fuck it. Plug.
Okay, so you can find me at Comics First doing reviews, and you can also support my GoFundMe because I am on dialysis and I haven't gotten disability yet.
Yes.
And it sucks because that's how the government works, but there's nothing I can do about it. So until I get disability, I'm kind of working on nothing here. So if you guys can help me out, the link will be provided by Ian.
Yes. Is there an easy to find version of the link?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I can go. I don't know. Bit.ly/help Raph. Please.
It'll definitely be in our episode
It's like
description.
get Raph to disability or something.
Yeah, like I don't. I mean, I don't really have a lot of living expenses. I just need to like be able to eat and like
food is good.
Get a Metro card so I can go to work and go out and do stuff and be a human being.
If I remember correctly, if you Google Raphael Suhu GoFundMe, it does.
It's probably the first thing that pops up.
Yes, it is. Yeah, fundraiser by Raphael Suhu is literally the first thing that shows up. But yes, there will be a link in our
show notes.
But yes, please go ahead and do that. What was your Twitter again?
Twitter.com/Raph.does-stuff.
Excelente. Very cool. And you might have a podcast coming soon?
In a couple months, once I have this ability and I can, afford to buy things.
All right. Fair enough.
Because I don't like the sound quality of my headphones. They're terrible.
And Chris, where can people find you?
At Lampbane, Lampbane, or at Chris Nautis. Please read my Toy Fair stories up at Engadget.com.
They're great.
Do it.
Yeah, I got to check out the new Lego AR sets.
I kind of want those Lego things.
They're great.
They do look really cool.
Yeah, I got to check out the Hot Wheels Tech mods. God, I'm like completely brain farting now. Like I saw so much. I saw a combination adorable nurturing owl toy with a helicopter deck.
Ooh.
You know what I just thought of?
What?
Power Wheels for adults, but that's just regular cars.
Okay. You know what the funny thing is? Somebody has been in that product pitch meeting before. It's like so here's the problem with Power Wheels. When you get to a certain age, people don't want to be playing with Power Wheels anymore. So I have a suggestion. Power Wheels for adults. What do you guys think? What they have regular
Phil,
cars.
those are called cars, Phil.
You know what? You guys have been great. I'm going to clear up my desk.
No, so you didn't say it right. It said, you guys have been great. Blockchain. But yes, check out. I have links to all the Toy Fair stories. I suggest checking those out. I also wrote a sort of review of Alita Battle Angel. Mostly I interviewed the VFX supervisor, and we had a very nice, fruitful talk about how Alita has like 8 million polygons in each of her eyeballs.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's why. Well, they're huge.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see it this week.
Yeah, you should see it. We can do an episode about manga adaptations if you want.
Ooh, you mean how most of them suck? All right, okay.
Except Alita Battle Angel.
No, Ghost in the Shell wasn't bad. It had my favorite Asian, Scarlett Johansson.
Johansson.
So you can find me on Twitter at I_am_sci-fi. I am sci-fi. You all know that already, probably, if you're listening to this. That's also my Instagram. You can find me there. Lately, I've actually been doing a lot of Comic Geek Speak episodes, so check out comicgeekspeak.com. For all of those, we just did our Best of 2018 nomination show. I did actually have the Artist of Die as one of my nominations for new upcoming artists that I'm curious about.
The art on that
thank you.
has I've actually started liking it more with each issue.
Yeah.
Like I thought the first issue was very murky and later issues are much better. So people, read Die.
Yes.
If you like to role play, read Die.
That's spelled D-Y-E, correct?
You walk into the forest.
D-I-E.
Oh, it is D-I-E?
Like a die, like a
Okay.
literal dice.
Or stab, stab, stab. Blah.
D-I-E, yes. But yeah, go ahead and find me on there. The email address for Comic Timing is comictiming@gmail.com, facebook.com/Comic Timing for any discussion. And check out Brent's YouTube videos, also on his BK's Bullets YouTube channel. See, Brent, we didn't forget about you. Huh? Who? Yeah? Who? Yeah? We'll talk soon, buddy. I promise.
Who? You should post my YouTube videos in the show notes.
And youtube.com/lampbane.
No, Engadget.
What? Your personal stuff? Well, why not?
I haven't posted anything on my personal account in like 6 or 7 years.
One of my personal videos at youtube.com/Scary Monkey Show wound up in a Todd in the Shadows Harvey Danger One-Hit Wonderland episode a week ago. So you want to look at all my old concert videos back when I started doing those, you can go ahead and
I'm the one who
take a
uploaded the
look.
video of Jonathan Ross snogging Neil Gaiman at the Eisners.
Yes, and that was huge on the internet for a while after that.
Yeah.
Anywho, proud members of the Comics Podcast Network over comicspodcast.com and the League of Comic Book Podcasts over comicbooknoise.com/league. Once again, facebook.com/Comic Timing is where you can find us. Raph, thank you again, as usual.
Comics are for everyone.
Chris, thank you.
No.
No.
No. Chris, you forgot the podcast. No.
Chris, your mic. Come back.
No.
Your mic.
No.
And as always, there's always time for comics.
Are for everyone.
We're going to go watch the Oscars now.
Adios.
For everyone.
Stop it.
For everyone. I haven't stopped it yet. For everyone. Comics are for everyone.
Stop eating chips on the mic.
I'm eating chips on the mic. Fuck you.
Done.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah, this is just gonna be how. Like,
No, it's cool.
Usually,
No, I love that.
I put outtakes in the end. It's just
I'm
gonna
into
be,
it. No,
it's
I'm
just
into it.
gonna
I'm
be-
into
There
it.
has literally been a bowl of chips in front of us this entire recording,
No, I'm
and I've
totally
been
into it.
staring at it longingly. So
This is like after the credits.
Yeah.
ASMR.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see if I can do this here. Here we go.
Oh, that's good. That's good chip, ladies and gentlemen.
And this serves you right for not turning off a show right when its music starts.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody.